Hi everyone. Hello. I'm Moda. I'm going to be your moderator tonight. I'm here with Jessie Mihalik and Ilona Andrews. I hope you can
Hi.
both all see us. You can all chat with everyone. First of all, I really hope that everyone is safe tonight from all the storm and cold weather warnings. Um, and if you don't have those things, hopefully they come back soon and you watch this and you get distracted for a little bit. Thank you to Ilona, Gordon, and Jessie for being here with us tonight. Texas is under a massive freeze warning, so please bear with us in case anything happens. Hold grid hold. I even know that from London. Um, Tonight we're going to be discussing the new Jessie Mihalik release, Silver and Blood, which comes out this Tuesday, January 27th. It's a brand new series, a brand new romantasy, the first in a duology, and it's going to come out at all the usual retailers, your indie bookstores, libraries, in ebook, paperback, and audiobook. And tonight we're going to have a spoiler-free conversation because only very few fortunate ones of us have managed to read the book, obviously. If the weather holds, you can also see Jessie on the 28th, right, in Austin for a
Yeah,
signing.
book people.
At Book People, that's right. So, hi Lana, hi Gordon, hi Jessie, hello. How are you all?
Good.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Like,
Yeah.
thanks for
Oh,
having me. Thanks for moderating. I'm happy to be here. Thanks to the weather for holding off the ice storm for long enough for the grid to stay up. Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Right. Ilona, Gordon, how is it at your place?
We're still alive somehow.
We're okay. We like Jesse. We still have power. We're not that far actually. Jesse's slightly north of us. We're kind of right between Austin and San Antonio. But like, yeah, we have wood and everything. I kind of insist on having a wood stock. So if the power goes out, we have a fireplace. We have wood. We have a gas stove.
Yep,
We'll be okay.
we'll be okay.
And some exciting things are happening at Casa Andrews, but apparently we're not going to talk about them tonight. Some things are being written, some bonuses are happening, but more on that next week. Right. Let's go straight into the webinar in that case. Tonight's very loose theme is the price of magic, but it won't be something very, very philosophical. Um, but first of all, Jessie and Ilona both have releases this week. Ilona's will release the new Augustine Montgomery novella in the Hidden Legacy series. And although on first view, the two books are very different genres, very different everything, the one thing they have in common is that once the protagonists get magic, especially very powerful magic, their lives and choices kind of cease being their own and they want to be used or as weapons or as resources, as assets by other people. Everyone is keeping a very close eye on them and the choices are very narrowed down. So how how do you see this happening? What's the most interesting in exploring that point of view?
Do you want me to start?
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
Jessie.
um, I think it's interesting, like as a character, like how do you keep yourself when you have all of these forces that are trying to mold you one way or another? Just because, like, staying true to yourself, especially like in Silver and Blood, Riella didn't know that she had magic until like a flood was coming to her town and was going to destroy her village, and it sort of exploded out of her, and she saved the town. But then the townspeople, instead of being incredibly grateful, they're like, well, why didn't you save more? And why aren't you doing more? And so the book opens with them basically being like, there's a beast in the woods, go kill it. Why haven't you done that? And so she's 28, so she is a fully grown adult. But she was 27 when she finally had this life-changing event. And then the book kicks off and it's like she's a little bit mad at the villagers, like like, you have actual trained hunters. Why are you sending me? I don't know what I'm doing. So I think it's interesting trying to like thread that needle of staying true to yourself while also having like expanded opportunities.
And in Hidden Legacy, we kind of deal with that too. Once we have primes, we know that they feel that there's not really a boundary as such. If they really intervene whenever something happens, then society's going to be all, well, why don't the primes intervene and just, Superman everything? So is it more interested in looking like their internal fight of trying to be themselves, or all these external pressures?
I think for Augustine specifically, he rarely gets to be himself.
Yeah,
He's quite regularly someone else.
most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. I can't be too spoilery and talk
Yeah.
about. I don't think, unlike Jesse's protagonist, I don't think he can even imagine being without magic. I mean, he and a lot of people in the series were born, or at least came into it. What would you say, in puberty? They were tested like.
Well, it depends. Like Diana Harrison, Cornelius' sister, right? She was born and they immediately knew she was a prime.
Yeah.
But some people get tested, some people obviously are not. But okay, that Nevada and Connor's child is a prime. Like you knew when he was born that was a prime. He nearly leveled the hospital when he was basically coming into the world. So I think that there is a little bit of noblesse oblige obviously here happening. In a sense that yes, the primes, because they possess so much power, are kind of expected to step up when terrible things happen, but at the same time, they cannot be everywhere at once. Like a prime, if there's a flood, for example, a prime may save a building, but they probably cannot stop the enormous, wall of water that is flooding. Like nobody can do that. But yes, is there resentment when they fail to basically show up and fix things? Yes, absolutely.
Right, even though they're not in any sort of official capacity or required to do so, I think it's up to each person, like how much they do, how much they give up of themselves, how much they let be dictated by what other people want them to do or expect them to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's people like Linus Duncan, right? That are like, okay, terrible things are happening, I'm going to fix it, right? There's people that are more like the Montgomery, House Montgomery, where Augustine's father always was very focused inwardly, in a sense, to where it was always drilled into Augustine from a very early age. Don't take risks you don't have to for the sake of other people. Protect your employees, protect your family members, honor your alliances, but don't stick your neck out. That's why if you read the Hidden Legacy, right, there's a moment there where the conspiracy is happening, and Connor's all like, I am going to crush it, and Augustine pauses there and says, are we on the right side of history here? Are we opposing this? Is this right or is this wrong? And you get a little bit more of that hesitation, right? Because Augustine, by the nature of his family and all the horrible crap that he's gone through, is extremely aware of the price of magic. Because we would talk about basically what we can do with the magic, right? The powers, the wealth, the prestige, the money, the all of those things. But there's a real tangible cost to it. Primes kill each other frequently, right? One moment you can be on top, and the next your family is ripped apart. So I think that's very interesting. How do you find your place in this ecosystem where basically everybody's a monster, essentially?
And also, you both kind of touched on it, the fact that if society relies only on these exceptional magical users, then society kind of forgets to do anything for themselves. And in a world with magic, if created well, so to magic is the problem is the solution, but it's the problem as well, a new set of problems. When you read, because both of you I know read extensively, do you keep on your author hat, or do you still get swept into the story? Like, do you analyze always, like, oh, are the stakes enough? Is the cost of magic enough in this world? Do you analyze how the sausage is made, sort of, in a book?
I don't unless I'm having other, well, it depends. Like that's the most wishy-washy answer. But if I'm having other problems with the book, like if I'm not being swept away, it's generally because I'm having problems with the book. And then once I start seeing problems, then I just see more problems. Also, when I am editing my own work, that tends to be when I'm more susceptible to seeing problems in other works, just because I'm in that like edit mode. But I really try very hard to turn off author brain and just enjoy the story, get swept away, have that escape, find out about this new world. So people ask me like, oh, which tense do you like? Which POV do you like? And the answer is, I don't care as long as the story's good. Like when I start noticing if it's in first or third, or if it's in present or past, there's something else in the book that's like tossing me out, because otherwise I just love the book and I'm swept away in it and I read it and it's fine. So the answer is generally I can turn my brain off. When I'm editing, it's more difficult.
Ilona, Gordon?
I think that's fair. I think that I know Ilona does. I know I will sometimes read something, and the thing that now takes me out of it, if there's like, what would you say, like grammatical mistakes, things that should have been picked up. Like part of me go, oh, copy editor should have caught that. Oh, that's a spelling error. Like it's harder now to not do that. But Jessie, I think, is right. If there's just a really good story, you can sometimes just take your author brain out and set it down and just be like, and if nothing else, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I wish we'd written that. That's so good. Oh my gosh. Like, so sometimes even if it's not criticism, it's like a little bit of professional jealousy, like, oh man, that was so good. Like the way they phrase that, the way they describe things. I'm like, wow, I like that description. I like that dialogue, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess when I was before we started writing professionally, I could generally get through majority of books I started. It was really rare when I was like, oh, I am going to quit. This is boring. I would just read it and it would be fine. And now it's a very sharp divide. Like I can pretty much tell within the first couple of chapters if I'm gonna finish or not. And if I'm not going to finish, I don't bother. I'm just like, okay, you're done. A good book can do that. A good book can basically elicit emotion and make you care about things and characters. And if you're on emotional ride, you don't really care that, they said word, wonderful 50 billion times on the same page. It's just the narrative has to be good. Emotionally, the narrative has to be good and gripping.
Yeah, and I will add to that like Ilona, I used to never DNF books. Like I would just read everything, but now that I am an author, I do DNF books for a myriad of reasons. Either I think it's going to be boring or I'm just not in the mood for it. I've turned into far more of a mood reader now. And so I'll put a book down and sometimes I'll be able to pick it back up months later and then I will love it then. I just have to be in the right space for it, basically. And like Gordon, I also do, like, I can't see typos in my own work, but you give me a book and I will find 100% of the typos in it.
Yeah.
It's I can see the typos in our work. Usually after it's been published. And
that one.
Yeah, that one, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, page 3. Why did we do it this way?
Yeah, like if it made it through developmental copy, proofread, edits, and formatting and everything, and it's published and it's in the book, at that point, it's a sign of beauty. It's a mole. It's not a typo anymore.
I counted one time. Okay, if you're going traditional route, right, or if you're replicating traditional route, there's 8 edits per each novel, so 8 passes,
Yeah.
right? So there's the initial manuscript, first developmental, then the author looks back at it, so right, that's 2. Then basically the production editor looks at it, follows up with queries, that's 3. Copy editor, that's 4. Author goes back and looks at it again, that is 5. Production editor comes back and says all these queries that you either did not address or we found, that is 6. Then author looks at it one more time, 7. And then the proofreader finally reads it, right? And we generally, for proofreader, usually there's not a lot of queries because proofreaders actually usually just pick up typos. It's rare by that point when they found something needs to be queried. So, but there may be another point at which we all look at it, and
Yeah,
so
I mean, you're still gonna get it. I mean,
you're
that's
still
it,
gonna
like,
get issues, yes.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think like I see more even in older books that are converted to like a Kindle format. Like I will see things in there, and I know it's probably not the author or the editor. It's just something about converting like an older.
Yeah, the
I've seen
artifacts from like the editing and stuff.
No,
like
I see weird
conversion
stuff.
things,
Like
yeah.
I was reading The Choir Boys, which is like a book from the 70s on Kindle, and there was some roughness. I don't know.
It's interesting because yes, you end up basically doing all this stuff, looking through all these things, and then the ERCs goes out and somebody is like, by the way,
Yeah.
where you said shoes here? She's wearing boots, right?
Oh yeah, we caught that ourselves. We caught one of those ourselves, though, yeah. Because there's 2 of us. We're lucky.
We're lucky.
So that's about other people's books. All those typos are in other people's books. Let's not jinx it. What about when you write your own books? Like Jessie, you started a brand new world, obviously, with this book. Did anything surprise you as you were writing it? Are you a plotter, a pantser? Does the inspiration still come as you write?
I am a pantser. I'm a discovery writer. I do not plot, so pretty much the entire book is a surprise as I'm writing it. So I set out to write a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I very confidently told my agent, like, I've got this fantasy idea. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm going to be like Beauty and the Beast. This is what it's all about. And then like 1 chapter in, it just turned into something else. And so, like, the vibes are still kind of there, but it just went in its own direction as soon as I started writing, basically. And I start with, generally, I know the beginning of a book when I start writing, and somewhere middle-ish, I generally don't know the end when I start writing. So I start writing, I write to the middle, and hopefully by the time I've gotten to the middle, I know what happens at the end. That's how the process is supposed to work. Sometimes it works better than others. But yeah, basically the entire process of writing I find to be surprising because I discover as I go.
That I want to say though, for what it's worth, that very much mirrored my experience as a reader. Like I sat down with it, and it did indeed begin with all of these the look at her, she's so odd, the village, very much the very close to my heart, sort of like comforting bedtime fairy tale. And then a chapter in, yeah. Things happen, yeah, very much so. Ilona, Gordon, what about you? Obviously, you're returning to Hidden Legacy, very, very trodden path. Did anything still surprise you with Augustine? Sorry, I can't help laughing because I very much know the story.
No, I mean, I think we would have to be considered plotters, if not plotters. And we normally, weirdly, we kind of like, we knew the end, right? We weirdly knew a very specific,
and we know the end. We generally know the final scene.
Right, it's like leaving the house, right? We know where we are. We know where we want to go. Yeah. We just have to get there, right? So like, let's get them. Like, I think we literally had the final scene
Yeah.
a certain someone comes and saves certain people.
Yeah, we had the final scene.
But even that, we ultimately had to be like, well, we can't have it the way we want to.
Here's the thing, like sometimes you get stuck on that a little bit, right? Because like at one point, because when we write, right, essentially what as writers we think in scenes, like
Yeah.
and we're not alone in this. I heard people say things like, oh, I have written 3 chapters so I could get to that one scene, right? There's a little bit of danger in that because, for example, in Hidden Legacy, I became incredibly stuck on having a fight on the rooftop at one point, right?
Oh yeah.
And so we got there. We got them to. I think what was it? I think it was the first Catalina book, right?
It was it was the first or second. We needed them
The
to have
first
a fight
one.
on the roof. Are you sure
Yeah.
it's the first
It's
one?
the first one because then there's Salmanar and all
And
that
it's
stuff.
like, why are they on the roof? Plot. Because
Yeah,
we made
it's
them
like-
for plot reasons because it's cool.
Really,
We literally twisted it until we got to that.
yeah, and we were like, okay, well, how, why would logically they be on the roof?
Because
That
it's
makes no
cool.
sense at all. Like, why would you go up? If you're attacked, you would want to get the hell out of the building. Why are you going up in the building when you're going to the top? And you know,
why can't? And then we have to like figure out logically why can't they just walk out? Wasn't that like, well, why don't they ride the elevator?
yeah, why don't
They're
they
down
just
to
ride the
lobby
elevator?
and-
You know, it's like, so yeah, so we had to really kind of
No, and even with the end of this book, like I'm gonna be spoilery, like a certain someone ripping the roof off, like opening a can of tuna. We realized that wasn't it. And I literally looked at her. I said, I think she's gonna have to Kool-Aid man it.
yeah,
through
because
the wall, like-
the original plan was dramatically opening the roof, but here's the
Yeah.
thing: we wrote it, and there is no roof; it's a bunker, right?
Yeah, there's
so
no
it's
way
basically
to-
it's a cube. It's a cube of concrete reinforced walls. There is no way to like
Tell a certain someone just
again
has to
it.
come in and be like, oh yeah,
like yeah, just
break
sort
through
of
the
do
wall.
that. So it's an interesting thing because yes, to some extent we do discover a lot, right? When we write, like Jessie, but we are discovering on a much smaller level, right? What is becomes discovered more, I guess, is not so much the plot for us, but the underlying emotional reasons for why people do
Yeah.
things.
Why are they doing this?
Yeah, why are they doing
even,
this?
Like, you know, even in our own, like, why would he or she or they do this?
Yes. What compels them to do this, right? How do they feel about things? As far as the plot, though, okay, I can, if you really, we're about like 100K into the second book of this kingdom, right? Gonna be an enormous book. I don't know. Anyway, and so I can probably tell you from here till the end, almost every scene that is going to happen from this point now. And it will cover probably about at least 60K. So, you know, the further you into the story, the more clear you see the path. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if we're gonna talk about the second book and the Maggie, like there was a very specific point. I'm trying really hard to not be spoilery.
I know.
No.
I need validation. But like we get to that point. Like you know, it was almost man and wifing it. Like get her
to the point
somehow
where
magically to that.
Our friends were calling, going, "Are you there yet?" Like, no, go away.
No.
so yeah, it's but before we move on, I just wanted to say, okay, when I read Jessie's book, right, you know what it does? She kind of like notice she hand waved like the vibes. Let me tell you about the vibes. So the vibes of this, it reads like a classic fairy tale, but it was clearly written by somebody who's contemporary and is really, really good at that, mixing that folklore feeling with modern sensibility. Like it was like classically good.
Well, yeah, and speaking of that, Jessie, would you tell us a little bit about the setting?
Yeah, tell us more about the setting. Tell us more about your stuff.
So I have the book here, just in case people haven't seen it. This is what we're talking about. This is Silver and Blood. This cover was by Louisa Pressler, who I know has done some art for Ilona and Gordon as well, and it's incredible. There's also a UK version. So UK folks, you get a hardback, which this is my first this is my first book in hardback that's not like a special edition. So that's incredible. But yeah, it's sort of the classic like not medieval, like they're a little past that, but like, you know, villagers and not a huge amount of technology. But there is magic, although it's dwindling in the world. And so Riella is the only person in her village that has magic, and she doesn't really want other people to know because the king drafts all magic users to send them off to fight some ridiculous war that she wants no part of. So everybody's kind of keeping it on the DL until there's a monster in the woods, and the villagers show up at her house in the night, and they're like, "Go murder the monster." And she's like, "I'm really not the best person for this, but okay, I have magic. I'll give it my best shot." And so instead of finding, well, she does find the monster, but she also finds another mage in the woods, and she's like, "Oh, I'm saved. Another mage is here. We'll be okay." Um, but there's a little more. There's a little more to that story than
A little, yeah.
than meets the eye there. And I don't want to give too many spoilers away. You can read the first 3 chapters on my website right now, jessiemihalik.com, if you want just like a preview of what you're getting into. It's mostly a story told from Riella's point of view, but Garrick, the male main character, has some interwoven POV chapters as well. And I think one of them, I think it's chapter 2, is up and it's in his POV. And so she sets off into the woods and finds more than what she was expecting, and, you know, has to learn how to use her magic, and it just has some nice romantic times as well. It's definitely a romance. It is a romance told in 2 books, though. It is a duology. So this is the first book. Readers are probably going to say it ends on a cliffhanger, but I tried to be like the nicest possible cliffhanger. Like I didn't like kill one of them off or break up the main couple or do any of the things that some cliffhangers do. So just know. And the second book is Roses and Stone, and it's going to be out tentatively scheduled for late this year. So it's done. It's through copy edits. It's through first pass pages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's done. So it is.
So jealous of you.
It is going to be out, so you won't have a huge time to wait. So it's good.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, because we're a bit spoiled on the Ilona Andrews front when we have a duology. It kind of sometimes turns into a trilogy if we're good, or, you know, a short story sometimes finds its way into a novella size. So I was going to ask you if it's like definitely duology or just duology-ish.
It's right now, it's definitely duology, because that is what my contract with Avon is a duology. They do have the option to have more books. There are definitely some characters that I would like to write their stories. But Riella and Garrick's HEA, their happily ever after, will be at the end of book 2. Their arc will be complete at that point. There's more stories I would like to tell in the world. So hopefully it does well and Avon comes back and is like, we would love to have more books. If they don't, there's always the possibility that I will write it and self-pub it, because I am a hybrid author, so I can do that. It kind of just depends on, I mean, this is sort of crass, but it kind of depends on money. Like,
yeah,
if it depends on money.
Yeah, if it doesn't do well and Avon's like, no, then it's much harder for me to justify writing more, even as much as I really, 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 really want to, because like I like money, I like eating and having like this lovely house. So yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: the 2 are not mutually exclusive, though, Jessie. Like the first 2, traditionally, you reel them in with a self-pub, you keep all the money.
That is true. As long as it's like not just like completely tanks, basically. So I'm hoping that it's not going to.
It's not going to tank. That's ridiculous. It's an excellent book. It's an excellent magical enchanting book. Absolutely, it's not going to tank. It I read it, and I'm a hateful bitch that hates everything. And I was reading it, and I was like, damn. So yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, plus don't jinx it. You
Yeah,
have to be
don't jinx it. Yeah,
positive.
No.
Here, knock on Tubby's butt.
No, I definitely think that I hope that it's going to do well. I'm doing everything I can. I know Avon is doing push behind it as well. So, and you guys are helping me out, which is incredible. And thank you so much. So I'm hoping that it does well. I love it. I'm now like, I know the first book is just now coming out, but I have just done first pass pages on the second book. So I'm just like deeply in second book mindset. And I'm like, don't say anything about second book. Don't say anything about second book. So,
Oh no, I get it. Like, no, I get it. Like, I don't even know what the hell happened in this kingdom. We're so deep into like the second book. I don't know.
Well, okay.
And it's hard to like, because you have to almost U-turn and think about a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can see you totally being into your mind being in the second book, and then you have to talk about the first book. And like, people will ask us questions in a month or two, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't remember that. There's limited space.
Yeah, that is so much it. Like, because it's like, I wrote the first book, Silver and Blood, like, I don't know, 18 months ago. And the edits were done a year ago. And like, I've written the entire Roses and Stone, went through edits, went through copy edits, went through first pass pages. So I'm seriously like, I have this event at Book People on the 28th, and I'm like, do I need to read this book again before I have an event? Because I don't remember what's happened.
Oh, it's not a bad idea, actually. Because we have to talk about a book sometimes, and like, I'm blanking, dude. Like, I don't know.
Audiobooks help. If you have, audiobook copy by now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you listen to the audiobook, it removes a little bit of the editorial, that you do when you try to read it.
And plus, it's transformative. So you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is really good. Like, you can actually let yourself be like, wow, this is amazing. I'm awesome. Like, no wonder people are coming to see me at Book People, because I really am awesome.
I wrote this, and this is good.
Yeah. It's so much better than just like reading it again.
Yes, because reading it again, it just locks you into that, like, oh my God, why are there feet? Why are there feet 3 times in this paragraph? Why? And I don't know about you, but I snag on like the most random crap, and then I like obsess over it for the next 2 days and go like, why did we do this? This sucks.
That's a good idea. You should send me an audio copy for the thing so I can listen to it on the plane.
Which thing? Could you be more specific?
The first night, I'll listen to it.
Okay, yes, I will do it. As soon as they're done with their edits, I will absolutely do it. But yeah, it's really one of those things where when you come to, especially for a debut of a new series or trilogy or duology, when you come to the point of publication, you're usually a book ahead
or two,
sometimes. And then the other thing is that they ask you to do all this publicity stuff, right? You're writing letters to the reader. You're writing letter to your librarian association. You're writing, an interview. And it is so difficult to shift gears because it's asking you, well, what were you thinking when you, and I was like, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what I was thinking. I'm not sure I was thinking anything at all.
No, honestly, the thing is, I found this, like, and Jessie, you could probably, like, readers will come up and they know more about the books than I do at this point.
They absolutely do.
80% of this is like music trivia. There's very little room for like knowing, but people know, and it's super impressive. And like, they'll ask questions. I'm like, you guys probably know better than we do.
Yeah, especially if you go back and you like say something about like the Kate Daniels people love doing.
Oh yeah, I don't know shit about
in book 3 of Kate Daniels. When this happened, what did that mean?
I don't know, dude. We were 12 when we wrote the first book.
I don't know. I can't remember. What do you think it means?
Yeah, no, I have a piece of paper that I take with me to like conventions, and I'll have it with me at Book People that literally has my books, the titles of the book and the main characters' names written down. Not even side characters, like literal main character names, because I'm like, who was that? What book was that? Like it's gone. This is already 5 books in the future, and as Gordon said, there's very limited space here. Like it's got to have random trivia and the current book and maybe like a little bit of the previous book. But if you ask me about Polaris Rising, which was my debut, like like I wrote that in 2017, 2016, 2017. Like that's forever ago.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it didn't come out until 2019.
I know, but I remember we read something of yours before that.
Yeah.
We came from Oregon. We met you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, then, gosh, we've known you for 16 years.
Yeah, for a long time now.
We're old.
We're super old.
Well, after all of that, I had the question about which scene do you most look forward for readers to read, but obviously I'm going to scratch that question after all of that on not remembering what's happening in the book.
Oh no, I mean I can answer that one because it's easy. It's the end. Like for me, it's the end. Like I know that people are either going to be like, this is amazing, or they're going to like be with pitchforks outside my house. And so, but just everybody know, I will not break your trust. I am a romance author. Riella and Garrick are endgame. I've gotten this question from several concerned people because, you know, there is that one very popular romantasy book who did the switch in like book 2 or 3 of the romantic interest. Like that's not me. They are endgame. So like
I read the second book. Okay. It's certified. It's a true HEA. There's no weirdness. There is no like, oh my God, you know, a alternative love interest comes out and we like abandon the first dude and go have fun flirting. No, none of that. None of that. It's very classic. Like I said, it's classic.
Like, we're laughing, but like that's important that you have to deliver what kind of you promise. Like obviously you can't make everybody happen all the time, but we have to be very cognizant like of what people should get a happy ending. People should deserve to feel satisfied by the end of the book. And I think that's what we all strive for, right?
Well, we write commercial genre fiction, right? Like it's not that we are
we're not writing German poetry.
Yeah, we're not doing basically the literary, you know, deep exploration of, you know, state of I'm not even sure where I'm going with this, but you know, we're writing commercial genre fiction, especially if you're writing a romance. There is an expectation of HEA. If there's no HEA, it's not a romance. I don't care how many times you try to twist yourself into a pretzel to justify breaking up the couple. If the couple breaks up permanently, that is not a romance.
I don't think
it's a different genre. It still might be a good book. It might be an excellent book, but it's not genre romance. That is literally the definition of the genre romance. And so, yes, if you have this label, you better deliver the HEA, or at least happily for now or something.
Well, I mean, I think that's true of any genre. You want the ending to be like, unless it's meant to be a cliffhanger, but even then, you like to read the next one or
yes, like at the end, because the entire point of the romance
did you nail the landing? We all have to nail the landing.
We all have to stick the landing.
And I think it just depends, because I remember, like, and I always think of when she tried to get me to read my first David Gemmell book. She handed me this book. It's Sean Connery with a sword on the cover. She says, read this. It's an old man and he dies at the end. And I was like, okay, honey, I'm not reading.
Gemmell was his favorite author for quite a long time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's passed. I'm like, but like even you saying that and then reading the end of it, like, is a completely different.
But it's different. That was a heroic fantasy. And a heroic fantasy, by definition, somebody is gonna kick the bucket, and sometimes the main character kicks the bucket.
Yeah.
And we have feelings about those things, and that's why we think it's great. In the romance, the entire definition of the genre, what is romance at the core of it? Well, it's people meeting each other and then staying together, getting to the point where they can have exclusive right to stay with each other for as long as they want. You know, you mess with that formula at your peril.
But that all is not to say, so we're definitely in safe hands. There's definitely going to be an OTP from the beginning. We know that. But that's not to say that, as you know, as Ilona always say, one is for the heroine and the other one's for the fandom. That's not to say there isn't a very nice side character, very dashing, my personal favorite. I'm not going to say anything because it would be a spoiler, but don't worry, guys, there's some eye candy in there and some, well, heart candy, really, in there for everyone who
Oh,
wants to keep the main couples safe. So I was going to ask, uh, did you decide about, so you told us that you wanted a Beauty and the Beast retelling, very beautifully done. Did you decide on Riella first? Did you have her as a concept that she was going to be your beauty, or did the world come first and Riella kind of stepped into it?
For me, it's always character first. Like almost always, I have the character first, and then I explore the world through the eyes of that character. So it was definitely her first, and I had started in a slightly different place, or in the original manuscript. I mean, she was still going into the woods, but there was a slightly different setup. And so I started with her, and like just sort of built out. Like when I do world building, I basically build as I go or as I need something. And sometimes I'll spend like 3 hours on Wikipedia for something that's like a sentence in the book, but I need to know like what it is that is happening. So like I fall into research holes all the time, and I do that as I write. So sometimes I write really fast. Well, sometimes I write medium fast. I never really write really fast until deadline happens. But sometimes I write medium fast, and sometimes I write like really slow because I'm also doing research at the same time. So for me, it was definitely Riella first. Garrick followed soon after. And then I decided that I was going to write some part of the book in his POV, which is different than my previous books because my previous books were always female main character POV, single POV. So that was a little bit different. But I just wanted that little insight into like his thought process. So yeah, it was her first.
can I ask you about that? I meant to ask you before you mentioned it. How did you find that writing a male POV?
I mean, it's sort of weird for me because it's just me, but Dustin's my husband. Mr. M is what I normally call him on social media. So for Mr. Mihalik. He is my first reader always, like he's my alpha reader, and he will flag things that are weird. And like you were saying earlier about the like plot reasons, like you wanted this fight on the roof and you had to get there for plot reasons. Like Dustin is absolutely, he will nail me on every one of those plot reasons. He's like, why are they doing that? I'm like, because I wanted them to. And he's like, no, I don't think that's going to work. Like, you need to have like an actual explanation for this. And so I'm like, fine. Like, it was for plot reasons, but you're going to make me actually have some sort of. So that helped. But um, it was fine. I prefer writing the female point of view just because that's where my brain normally is. I hope I did an okay job on the male point of view. So, yeah.
Definitely. From what I can tell anyway, without a male point of view. Um, is there, for both of you, let's start with Ilona and Gordon this time, is there something that you would really, really want to do in a book, but you can't because it would sort of ruin the fantasy, sort of it would spoil the stakes of the book, like
Oh,
magically from the point of
no.
view of magic.
Here's the thing. First of all, to be flip, we can do whatever the hell we want. Secondly, I don't think I don't think we would do something just to be like stupid or piss off the fans.
You know what it is? Okay, so the easiest way to describe it is that writing the book is a little bit like getting into a boat and entering a river, right? And sometimes, like Jessie said, sometimes the current is fast and you're riding and you're like, wee, okay, all the words are happening, right? Um, And the other times the current is slow and you're kind of
You're
drifting,
following it.
or you're like trying to like push yourself, forward, and it's difficult. But you're always in the river. There's never a time when you're like, I think I'm gonna pull over and run along the bank for a bit, right? And because of that current of the story, if you try to do some kind of wild, weird thing that would take you out of it, it doesn't feel natural. You know what I mean? Like you're writing a narrative, you're telling a story. The story kind of is defined in your head. It's very difficult to put it into words because it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling that just kind of happens, and this is why a lot of times when writers have writer block, they know that something is wrong. They feel that something is wrong with the story, right? But they can't quite figure out what exactly it is, and they can't articulate why they feel that way. It's a feeling. It's like an instinct that is telling you, you are kind of like stuck sideways in a current somewhere, right? So no, for us, there was never a time when we wanted to do something grand or weird or whatever. And we didn't do it because it would ruin the story. If such a grand, weird thing occurred, it's because the story needed it.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah, and I've never felt like creatively, and this is going to sound that there wasn't something we couldn't do, not because we're awesome, but just because, we can kind of get to write whatever.
Yeah, we get to write whatever we want.
Whatever we want. I don't know.
I mean, what are you going to do? Kill Kate? Oh, oops.
Oh, no.
I guess you did.
No, but we've never wanted to do that because obviously we don't want to give mercy, but like we wouldn't.
You did kill Kate.
Yeah. No, but like why? I mean, why? I just don't think we've ever felt like writing the book that was a big FU to the fandom or readers. Like,
yeah, I mean, yes, we did kill Kate. It was so funny at the final book when we were doing promo. People would ask what happens, and she dies.
Yeah,
they're like,
I didn't know buddy.
She did that. But that was a deliberate choice on our part because you don't expect the main character to die, right?
Oh, no.
And it was the final book and the ultimate stakes, right? It was so fun. It was so fun to basically do that and then bring her back because, everybody's heart basically, if we did our job right, when she dies, it's like, oh, she's resurrected. Because yes, obviously nobody can beat death in real life. It comes for us all. And that was just like a little, I don't know, revolt against the way things are supposed to go. Anyway, Jessie, you take the wheel. We have rambled.
I mean, I agree with everything that Ilona and Gordon said. Like, there's not really anything that I would want to do that I haven't, because I feel like the book is a contract with the reader, right? And so for me, because I'm science fiction romance, I'm fantasy romance, but my brand is romance. And so for me, if I were to write a book that killed the main character and didn't bring them back, like just killed them straight, like I would either have to have another pen name or I would have to very clearly state to all my fans, like, this is not romance. Because the thing is I don't want to break that contract with readers. Like, one, it's bad for me because then you have readers that are like, what the heck? What are you doing? Like, that's just bad for author brand. But also, like, as a reader, if I read a book like that, then I get mad. Like, for books that are marketed not the way the book actually is. Like, when I get to the end, and if you have marketed your book as a romance and the main characters don't end up together, or at least happily for now, I'm like, this contract was broken and I'm not going to read this author anymore ever again. So, and I don't want to put myself or my readers in that position. So yeah, I do what I want because, I'm an author and the entire world is mine, right? But I try and stay within the bounds of the reader contract, basically.
Yeah.
So what you spoke about being a romance author first and foremost, but what inspired you to go from all the space operas you've treated us with over the years to the sort of romantasy, fantasy, romance, epic romance?
I grew up reading both. When I started writing, I happened to start with science fiction romance.
Oh,
But I wrote 9 of them in a row. And so after writing 9 of them in a row, my brain, in fact, it was when I was writing, maybe it was when I was writing Capture the Sun. I don't remember which book I was in the middle of when the first idea for Silver and Blood hit me. And I was like, oh, that would be fun. Like, it's slightly different. I've just swapped out, science and technology and spaceships for magic and swords and, creepy forests. But it was something different from my brain, and also from a like real perspective, romantasy was having a boom, and so it was a good idea. It was like good timing, hopefully, to write a fantasy romance. So, and if it brings new readers in, hopefully they'll come in and want more science fiction romance as well, because I love both. So I would love to see more science fiction romance out there as well. So hopefully it works both ways.
and what is a good intro? Do you think someone asked in the chat, what is a good intro into reading your works? My personal favorite is Polaris Rising, but I won't interfere.
I think Polaris is a perfect intro. It's my debut book, so keep that in mind. It was written many years ago. It was my first book, so it has like some of the first book quirks that all authors go through. But I think it's a good intro. It's a badass space princess who is on the run with an outlaw, and they have to stay ahead of the people hunting them, and then also fall in love.
And it's a trilogy, right? With each sister being a different book.
It is a trilogy. They're all standalones for the romance. So each book standalones for the romance, and then the trilogy has an overall sort of world arc.
And did you keep anything? Obviously, they're very different genres and very different books and series, but is there any sort of common thread other than the romance between your books, between the space operas and the romances?
For most of my books, it's the hero. The hero is smitten, and it's sort of. I won't call him a simp for the female main character, but he's definitely like he's there for the romance, and he falls hard, and and all of my female main characters don't take any sort of I'm looking for a nice word for shit, but I think we're probably mostly all adults here, so they don't take any shit from the heroes. So
The good kind of stubborn.
yeah.
Yes, I did want to say, do not go into this. This is not a spoiler, but do not go into this expecting a cinnamon roll hero, because he is very much a badass. It's taking names. Right. Thank you so much, since we talked about the other books and polarizing. Thank you so much for the amazing, adorable comfort read short story on your website. I loved it, especially the creature pet from the other, said someone. What exactly is the other? Is it kind of like a fairyland or another dimension? Any chances we'll see more about that in the Sorcerer Next Door?
So the other is more portal, other dimension than Feyland. I discovery writer, so I really know like this much about it, as much I put in the Sorcerer Next Door. And for anybody who's watching who doesn't know what this is, there is a free story on my blog, The Sorcerer Next Door. It's about, I think it's like 10,000 words. It's a little novelette. You can just go read the whole thing on my website. And I wrote it last year around election time because people just needed a little break from the news. And so I just left it up. As to whether or not we'll see more of it, like, I'm not going to say no, because there's a possibility, but there's a lot of things on my to-do list that need to have more, because I want to write another Books and Broadswords story as well, which I was going to do this year and I, said, oh, it'll be summer. And then I said, oh, it'll be fall. And now I'm like, well, it'll be sometime. Because writing Roses in Stone, it was due early this year, like in March. And I got it done, but it put me into like deeply into burnout. And so for like the last 6 months, I've basically been crawling out of that hole. So sorry to everybody who's waiting on it. I know you're waiting and I really desperately want to write it. So maybe after I get that written, we'll see more Sorcerer Next Door. It just sort of depends on what I'm feeling at the time, because I started writing the Sorcerer Next Door thinking that it was going to be a little 2,000 word, hardly anything, just like a fun little story, like whatever. And then like in a week, I wrote 10,000 words and I was like, well, that wasn't as short as I was thinking it was going to be. So if inspiration like that strikes again, then yes, we'll see more. If not, then maybe.
As long as there's hope. Ilona, Gordon, you obviously are writing something that's not your usual genres. Rather, it's a new genre for you, and it's a much, much bigger book. So that's what the BDH wants to know. We're gonna get to read a lot of words. We're gonna get to
I'm
devour.
gonna be super spoilery, and you're gonna let me do it. We are 100K in. Personally, and this is a matter of opinion, I think we're halfway on this book.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not.
I think so. I mean, okay, knowing, and this is unfair, I have an unfair advantage of knowing where we need to go. And I think we're conservatively halfway there. Look, if you can pull it off and in the next 5,000 words, we can be like, everything worked out and it's great. But that's not going to happen, dude. We can't do it. You simmer down.
We're speaking about Maggie, guys. Don't get excited. It's not Augustine. Augustine is done-ish.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Augustine is done.
Yeah.
Okay, Augustine. Let's talk about Augustine a little bit. So Augustine is finished. It's around 30,000 words. It's going to the copy editor who's saving our bacon because our first copy editor fell off the grid, without explanation, and that is probably not going to be a good thing going forward. But it's going to be 30K of that. There's going to be, so it's kind of like Arabella is in the Augustine's novella, and you kind of get a couple of scenes from her point of view at the end as its own kind of bonusy thing.
Supplementary, right? I suppose.
Yeah, supplementary thing. And we're also bundling the Arabella's shorts from the website and sticking them in there as a bonus because you guys,
for instance, the cool aunt.
Yeah, the cool aunt, because you guys have been asking for it to be in ebook form, and we have never, there was just no opportunity to kind of like all bundled together. There's not that much word count for it, right? So there's no really opportunity to like get it and put it together. And if people always say, well, just do it in fan service, and yes, that would work.
But there also should be a value.
Yeah, there should be value. Yeah.
Like you guys, it is stuff from before, but like the Augustine story is new.
Yes. Basically, the Augustine story is new. And it was also like one of those things where people who haven't read Hidden Legacy will probably pick up the book based on the cover or, description. Yeah. And it needs to at least make sense, right?
It does, but like again, I'm just gonna say this. I don't think this should be your first.
We read it by the Virgin Hidden Legacy beta, so it works as an entry point. But and then you always want to do that kind of when you're doing like a spin-off or a novella or whatever, because you have to count on the fact that people who have no idea what's going on, have never touched the series, want to get in there.
It has to be accessible.
It
has to make sense.
Yeah. As far as Maggie, people don't know it, but the first couple of books that we wrote together were epic fantasies. They're just horrible.
We never publish them,
and they will never see the light of day because they were honestly not salvageable.
Ninja hobbits and whatnot.
Yeah, ninja hobbits and whatnot.
That's it. I'm not joking though.
Yeah, we had carnivorous ninja hobbits. Yeah, it was interesting. But with Maggie, it was, we love fantasy in all forms, right? We read a lot of it, like epic fantasy, heroic fantasy. So this was our opportunity to really work with some of the archetypes of fantasy, right? It's very interesting because if you look at Maggie's characters, right, technically each one of them could be the hero or heroine of their own story.
Yeah.
Because they're archetypes, you know, there's the Prince of Rogues, there is the Mad King, you know, and it's on purpose, and I don't want to spoil it too much. But we had so much fun. And that is kind of a difficulty with Maggie, is that when we're writing Maggie, it is all absorbing. It is almost impossible to do anything else while working on it, because it's just like, you're just in it. Unfortunately, unfortunately for us, fortunately for you, maybe, these are big brick kill a robber with the weight kind of books. And you know, it's not that we have a writer's block, and it's not that it's not going well. It's going really well, right? We're clocking at 2K a session on word count, but it's just so big. There's so much of it.
Yeah, I mean, they have, like, to get to where we know the end, like, we have to literally walk. Like, I wish we could take the Eagles or take a boat, but we have to walk their dumbasses through.
Yeah, where they need to get. Yeah, it's very interesting because, you know, there's this joke, right? How many characters does it take to, you know, screw in the light bulb? And, you know, for urban fantasies too, a vampire and a werewolf, right? For the fantasy romance, it's two, but they must hold hands while they're doing it. For the epic fantasy, it's like, well, how many characters have you got? Right?
Yeah.
And it is a massive cast. It's like moving them all together.
And there's I will spoiler and say there are new characters introduced in the second book.
Yeah, and so it's like, how do you? It's interesting because they're people, and I know those people, right? I've met them in real life in the professional setting. They're people who have a series, right? And they develop a world, right? And they just kind of work in that world, release after release after release. Like novel after novel, it's the same world, it's continuity, it's super great for the reader. Not wired that way. We need a palate cleanser between the books, or we will run out of whatever it is that makes us go. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. Like, okay, for instance, like, and this is not a criticism, we could not just do, like, let's take, for instance, a long running series like the Xanth books. We couldn't just write that one after the other after the other.
Yeah, get like 50 books at the end or something.
And, you know, we would not.
Series.
So, like, our biggest thing, you know, is like one for them, one for us. But it's not even one for them, one for us. It's like, write the first Maggie book, write something else.
Right,
back
like
it is a bit of a palate. It's like, do something else. It's like, you know, like not every day is leg day, you know, at the gym. You do something else, and then you're excited to go back. Like even throughout the Kate series, you know, we did the Edge, right? As a bit
the Edge is a bit of a trade-off.
Nobody read it, but it was fun to write.
It was fun to write, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way we're wired, and sometimes people get really upset, and they're like, "Okay, well, why aren't you writing the sequel?" It's like, look,
well, we are.
We would love to write the sequel, but sometimes it just doesn't go, and we don't want to write something we hate because it won't be good, right? So we only, in recent memory, we only done one book that we absolutely intensely disliked, right? And that was Ruby Fever. And that was a combination.
I think you're supposed to say that.
Oh, why not? We'll edit it out, I think. It was a combination of COVID, right? And just the intense pressure, and we just did not want to finish it.
You know what it was? I felt like, honestly, for me, the story was done with Emerald Blaze, right? Or
we kind of left Emerald Blaze in such a good place.
I was happy with that, but you know, doggone it, contractually, we were obligated to produce.
Well, and we left like a couple of dangling plot points, like Alessandra's family and things like that. Yeah. And so we were doing the Ruby Fever, and we got it done, and it's a good book. We're proud of it. But it took like twice as long as normally a book takes, and it was a slog all the way through.
Some Bayou Moon love.
Oh,
That's my
That's
favorite.
my favorite book.
It is. It's
Sorry,
mine.
Jinx, owe me a Coke.
Yes, it's my favorite book, and it's my favorite book because we were able to sort of scavenge or reuse some of those never will ever see the light of day books and themes into Bayou Moon. So
yeah, we took the second manuscript we wrote, and we basically stole like not the words themselves, but like the chunks of like world building thoughts.
But you know,
kind of thing.
that was a thing for us that was fun to do in between Kate books.
Yeah.
And not that we didn't love doing the Kate books, but it was like, you know, like you get to do this other thing.
The funny thing about Bayou Moon also is we did the thing that we were not supposed to do.
Oh.
So we were held at that point to a very strict word count standard.
Yeah.
It had to be 90 to 95,000 words. It could not have been longer. And I think Bayou Moon was our book number, maybe 5 or something like that, right? In the like combined with Kate and Edge, right? In 5 or 6, I don't remember now which one, but
maybe 6 if you take like On the Edge.
We wrote it, right? And I guess it was engrossing enough to where our editor read it and she was like, oh, this is great. And she did not ask us to cut it.
Yeah.
And
if you notice, it's a pretty big book, actually.
It went into production. And at some point she emailed us and she said, guys, this book is so long. It was like, yes, it is. But it was too late because it was in production. Right, it was too late to basically cut chunks of it. I was so happy.
It's always better to ask forgiveness.
It was one of my most, like, I can't even describe it, moments when when Thor bought this kingdom, and I was like, okay, and they're like we want you to edit for length, and I was like, well, I don't know what could we possibly take out. They're like, no, bigger, make it bigger. It needs to be. I was like, yes. I could breathe, because it's very, very strict word count limit wise when you work in certain genre fiction standards, and it is sometimes constraining.
When we started and we were doing urban fantasy, it was crazy. They didn't care. Like, we don't care what you cut.
Yeah, we don't care what you cut. Get it within 1995K.
That's it.
Well, now we ramble. Back to you and Jessie. Woo!
Yay!
So Anthony saw the magic and fantasy and romance and book length, which are all there, and they're all going to be fabulous and very satisfying. For me as a reader, there's a very, very clear theme and point of like thinking, leaving me once I close the book, I go off thinking about the subject. But I'm very curious to see if you had a theme that you were very interested in exploring and in getting the readers to think about with Jessie with this book.
Not necessarily. Like, I generally don't think about themes when I'm writing. That said, book 2 is a little bit about rage, just like female rage, and that's because of the kind of the world that we're living in right now. Like, the rage came out a little bit on the page. And so the book 2 is definitely about that. I didn't have a theme. Like, all of my books generally, you can pretty much tell my political leaning based on my books that I write. And it's not because they're necessarily political, it's just about the things that I focus on. And so that just sort of feeds in naturally. I didn't go into it with any particular theme in mind. But definitely book 2, rage. Rage is the theme. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I don't think any of us could completely separate what's going on in our life with what we create, what we write. There's always that filter of a little bit. I mean, I don't know that we could divorce ourselves completely as people.
But no,
it's going to bleed out onto the page, whatever we're feeling, whatever you're going through.
What people don't realize a lot of times is that these big like kind of sweeping policy changes, right? Can have very intimate, very immediate impact on you, and you don't even anticipate all the ways in which that happens, right? And so yes, we are in a way, writers, I think, are kind of like maybe like radar dishes. We are basically taking in everything, and then we kind of distill signal from noise in a way. And but yes, we are taking in everything. We are angry, we are hurt, we are scared, you know all those things that happen affect people, affect us.
Yeah, and even if it's not a reflection of that, if you look at like, things that were popular like in the Great Depression, and there's lots of comedy because it's like that reaction of like, that's what we need, let's
Yeah, that's what we
escape
need.
all the horrible shit, and like let's do
Do
something like,
else. Yeah, do something else.
you're gonna see that where things that people are gonna want are like absurdist comedy, things that are not like, I don't think people want a lot of gritty realism right now. I think it's as gritty and realist as I can deal with at this point.
Yeah, it's
So,
there's things that you don't yeah, okay, we are veered off somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
Rasa,
someone in the
Rasa.
chat, Gwen in the chat, very beautifully said, authors are artists, and artists reflect the world around them, and that is very true. And although the book are they're very immersive and very escapist, if that is the what your heart takes you right now, and how could it not? It's still, like any good book, really leaves you with something to think at the end. And I know what it was for me, but I'm not going to say because that would be a spoiler. Um, so in regards to the romantic sort of dynamic that is going on in your books, Jess, you've already told us that you usually go for the type of dashing young man, not that young in this case. um dashing man that is completely in with the female character and very smitten. um what can you tell us, without being too spoilery, about the romantic dynamic that is a bit different than the regular romantasy that is kind of now sort of very in trend, because there are a few differences.
Are there? like,
Yeah.
like looking at your own work,
I mean,
it's so hard to see these things.
Right.
For me, like the things that I care about in romance and romantic partners is generally somebody who cares, somebody who's a protector. Like he may grouch and grumble and whatever, but at the core, if he doesn't have like care and that like sense of responsibility, then he's just an asshole, and that's not the kind of character that I want to write necessarily. So, and like I prefer to write my heroines who stand up for themselves. And so in this book, Garrick is generally used to getting his own way, and Riella is not here for it. She's like, nope. Like, so just have that dynamic where they're actually equals, even though at the outset it may not seem like it. But having them have more balance and more balance power and ability really are the things that I'm most interested in my romances. And I think that's common in romantasy, but maybe it's common in the romantasy I read and not the popular ones. I don't know. So,
and Ilona, Gordon, you're not writing romantasy, but there's something
But
about Diana.
I want to tell you about Jessie's book, right? So what is one of the interesting dynamics there is a lot of times in the romantasy now, there's this manufactured tension. We don't speak to each other, and one conversation would make the tension go away. Or like, we are going to fly off the handle. And that is not that relationship. These are two people who are reasonably grounded, right? And are aware of their, powers, of their basically of who they are, of what they want to do. And so it's not really enemy to lovers, but it kind of skirts that a little bit. It's more like rivals maybe to lovers to some extent. It's a really well done romance. I really, really enjoyed it. It felt refreshing. Like it's okay, I'll be honest, it's kind of really difficult to get refreshing right now in romantasy because there's simply so much of it, right? But that book felt very fresh.
Thank
There's
you.
nothing sort of YA or even new adult about it. They're both like reasonable, very magical and fantasy, but they're very reasonable people, adults. There's no like, oh, just like a miscommunication trope. That's how people die. Like everyone's very mature and with their feet on the ground.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going for is they're both adults, and we all have our moments where like we're unreasonable people, but if you're an adult, generally you'll go back and like be like, I'm sorry, like I shouldn't have done that. And so I wanted to sort of reflect that as opposed to the one conversation could resolve all of this. So
Absolutely. Right. So we're heading towards the end now, and people want me to ask, Jessie, did you ever think about releasing an omnibus of the Rogue Queen series?
I have considered it. It's something that my agent keeps talking to me about. I have not done it yet because I would need to, or I feel like I would need to write something additional to put in the end of it to like make it, special. And I have not had time to do that. But it is something that is on the list as a possibility. So it might happen at some point in the future.
That's great. And to both of you, if there are any other books that excite you that are going to be coming up soon or that were recently released, any recommendations for us?
This book. I know that Ilona is going to be like, oh, don't talk about this book. But y'all, like, that they were talking about how thick it is. Look at this book. This is their best book. And I loved Kate. And I adored Hidden Legacy. I mean, they're stellar. Those series are incredible. Like the Kate books is one of the things where I was like one of my inspirations for wanting to be an author. Like those books spoke to me. Yeah, like Ilona's hiding. Like those books spoke to me on such a deep, deep level. This book is better. It's better. This book is incredible. I cannot wait for you all to read it because when I read this book, I read it multiple times because they sent me an early copy. So I saw the progression. The first time I read it, I just stared at the page in awe. Like this book, y'all, like I am telling you, get your pre-orders in. You do not want to miss this. This book is incredible. It's amazing. She sent me the first draft, like her first draft she sent to me. I read it and then I immediately turned around and read it again and I don't really reread books. Like that's not really a thing I do. My TBR is like piled to the moon, so I have plenty to read. It's that good. So this one is high on my list. It comes out in March, I think. Yeah, they're hiding, but it comes out in March. Get this on your list. Like I know that we're friends and I'm biased, but no, it is not good.
Is that the one we gave you on the cheesecake?
It is. It is. Oh, cool. It is. It's the Cheesecake Factory version. Like we went to dinner and they brought this and I brought them Silver and Blood and we did a swap.
It was a fair swap, I think.
Yeah. It was a fair swap. Yeah. She's
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So yeah, that one is high on my list. Another one that's coming out this week that I share a release date with is Enchanting the Fae Queen by Stephanie Burgess. It's also a romantasy, and her first one, it's her Queens of Villainy series. Her first one is out now, which name has now escaped me. But Stephanie Burgess, Those books are so much fun as well. The first one, an evil queen has, a castle, and the love interest, basically, the man goes there and he wants to ask for, safety, but he is mistaken for the evil wizard that's there to organize her library. And she's just like, he's like, yes, I will definitely do that. Like, I'm an evil wizard. I can organize a magical library for sure. Like, they're just super fun books. The first one's out now. The second one's coming out on Tuesday. Also, if you like Portal Fantasy, which is what this is, and it's amazing, Sarah Reese Brennan has a series. The second book is All Hail Chaos, and it's coming out this year. The first book is Long Live Evil, which was also incredible. It does end on a horrible cliffhanger. So if you get it now, you won't have that long to wait for book 2. But yeah, there's a whole list of book recs on my site that I update not as often as I should. But if you go look for book recs on my site, you'll see a whole bunch of books I've read and loved. But yeah, This Kingdom, definitely my number one pick for the year. Like, it's been my favorite book for like 2 years running because I read it in 2 years. So yeah.
And can you please show us again the 2 editions of Realize book?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, of Silver and Blood. So there is.
So this is the UK edition. It is a hardcover. It is unfortunately, it's going to be the UK and like some other international markets. I don't know which ones, but it is not going to be in the US. The US has the incredible art by Louisa Pressler, and it is going to be trade paperback. And
there is no.
They order from Book People. That's if they pre-order from Book People for the signing.
Yeah, if you pre-order from Book People, that's my local independent bookstore, you will get an art print of the cover that has a little note on the back, but I'm not going to show you that because it's a secret. But you'll get that, and then you'll get some little stickers as well that are like some quotes from the book that I liked. So get those pre-orders in because I will be going there on Tuesday to do that. And it's while supplies last, and there's a few spots left. So if you want some bonus things and the print book.
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I thought it was the 28th.
I am signing books on Tuesday, okay. But the event, if you want to come see me in person, the event is on Wednesday night at 7. So if you come to that, I will also have postcards and stickers. I'm setting some aside just for the event people in case that if they haven't pre-ordered, if they didn't, whatever. So yeah, it is on Wednesday is the event. Tuesday is when I'm going to sign books. So get your pre-orders in. It's also available at whatever your favorite retailer is, and in audio as well.
Yeah, the ebook, paperback, and audio, and then for UK hardback. Ilona, Gordon, I think you have some appearances coming soon. More on that tomorrow. And in the meantime, do you have any book recommendations for us?
Oh gosh, all the stuff is on the blog. Obviously Jessie's book. That's why we're here. It was amazing. It was the book that I read that year that not only it stayed with me, right, but I was kind of in this pressure cooker because of the many edits of our book that had to be happening. And I remember sitting and reading on the couch, and it was one of those things where, when you have a book, right, but like at that point it was the ARC, and I would check to see where I was in the manuscript to make sure there was more left, right? So because I really did not want it to end. But besides that, I'm going to give a shout out to Jim Kwok, who has snuck into the chat there. She's in there somewhere. Jean, I know you're in there still. Say hi. I know she's in there. She said hi in the beginning. There she is. Okay. So Jean has a romantasy coming out, and it is a really, really interesting book. It is basically this weird mix of like Chinese fantasy mythology with, you know, your classic romantasy themes and pairings. It has rideable magical tigers. The book is super amazing, and Jean is going to link it, right? Jean, link it to us in the chat. I know you have it somewhere. Come on, there it goes. Okay, it's a beautiful book. It has it's has a gorgeous cover.
Dominion, right?
It's called the Dominion, but I'm waiting for her to actually paste. Okay, there we go. Thank you,
Yay.
she got us. So I read that one, and that one was really, really interesting. And Jean's book is super, how to put it? If you like Chinese dramas, right? That will be like right along that alley. It is an over-the-top magic. It's very colorful. There's explosions of like just interesting world building that occurs, and I really, really enjoyed it. So there's that one. Obviously, I have to plug Gillian Frost because BFF Gillian. You know, her book is coming out soon, and it is also a Beauty and the Beast.
And the Beast, yes.
Except that she's the Beast and he's the Beauty, very, very clearly. Yes, Remy is very pretty. But yes, so that one was very interesting. It's a little bit of a departure for her because, you know, Janine is mostly known for her vampires. And there is, how to put it?
Careful.
Every single mythological creature that you could think of is in the world that she created, except for vampires. There are no vampires. She shut that door.
An interesting theme. I think all of us, if you take, you know, Jessie's and Janine's and our, you know, the first Maggie book, we're all kind of trying to do something. Well, if we're trying to do something different, but we're writing something that's different than our previous.
Or die, right? I mean, yes, we could be writing Kate number 50 million, but like at some point you want to, you grow older, you go through life. It gives you new experiences. It gives you new, basically, you know, inspirations. You want to try something different.
Yeah,
it's
speaking of trying something different, my book recommendation is Robert Parker's Spencer book number 53. I kid you not. Yeah, it's 53 in the series. That's my book recommendation. It is new, technically, it came out.
And it is sufficiently true to the source material.
Yes, the guy that's writing them now, his name is Mike Lupica. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's the latest in the series. Gosh, I think he's at least the second person to write them since Parker's
unfortunately passed, yeah.
And then otherwise, again, because I'm hip and new, I'm reading the first Harry Bosch book set in 1990. I think that's even when it's written.
You have been spared because for a while he was reading Mag books.
Mag books?
Mag, you know, the shark.
Oh yeah, I read all the Meg books. They're a fun read. Don't judge. Sharks are interesting.
Jason Statham forever ruined that series for me. I cannot now, like, I just picture him whenever I see Meg, and I'm like, okay, yep, that Jason Statham diving into impossible depths that should crush him, but he's too manly to dive. So yeah, I guess that's
there we go. Yeah. We're in very good hands with.
Yes.
So we're in very good hands with a lot of really good books coming up. New books for hopefully a new, better world. And the only promise we want is that you will keep writing no matter what and no matter which genre inspires you next. And thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat and everyone who logged in to see us, and hope that the weather improves soon and everyone has power and warmth and coziness. And we'll see you soon on the blog tomorrow. In fact, watch out for posts. And thank you so much, Jessie, and good luck. It's a wonderful book and I know everyone will love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for moderating, Mod R, Ilona and Gordon. Always, it is awesome to get to chat with you. Thank you so much for doing this. Like it was so much fun. Thanks to everybody in the chat and everybody who watches this afterwards. I hope if you try Silver and Blood, I hope you love it and get your This Kingdom pre-orders in for sure.
Thank you so much, guys. It was so much fun having you over. Jessie, thank you so much for putting up with us.
I wish the weather was better.
I wish the weather was better. Yeah.
We would have taken you to one of our local eateries.
Yeah, that was the original plan. Is I was originally going to drive down and actually see Ilona and Gordon in person and have the chat in person, but then this ice storm decided to roll in, so we went remote anyway.
It's looking pretty gnarly.
Yeah, please give Dustin my best.
Yes,
of course.
We get to Silver and Blood.
Yeah, Silver and Blood.
Bye. Won't regret it. It's awesome. All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.